Hey everyone, it's Darren Benton with Performance Motorcoaches. Coming to you from northern Indiana. We just picked up this coach. About to drop it off at our transport lot. Going to pack a few little things in there for its trip back home to Texas. It's been a wild and crazy day. We just got back from Hershey last night. Picking up coaches, gathering parts. It never really seems to stop, which is obviously a good thing. But I want to do a video on this 2026 Verona LE. We don't sell a lot of the Verona LEs. We seem to sell a few, and the ones we do sell are generally very customized for basically what you can do in a Verona LE. Typically, this product in the past had basically a handful of options. They've introduced a lot of standard options for the 2026, and then of course we added a few things that typically are not even been offered in these units at all. So this is the basically the LRB, which is the rear bath. It is a 3-slide coach. As far as the chassis itself, it is on the M2 106. This is the Plus chassis. So you tell the Plus exterior by two things. So this grille is slightly different, and then this intake is slightly different than the previous M2s. Inside's much different, but exterior-wise, it's kind of difficult to be able to tell the Plus from the non-Plus. Much needed updated interior, a lot nicer dash layout, nicer door panels, everything like that to go along with it. But I guess in 2023 was the first year they offered the Verona LE in a bunk over. Most of our LEs will be sold as a bunk over, just strictly for the storage. The previous units, I think, probably had inhibited sales slightly because they didn't have the elevated bunk over, didn't have a bunk over at all, just had the aero cap. So whether you want to put a kid up there, grandkid, friend, or just additional storage, it's definitely handy to have. So the exterior paint job on this is Wayfinder, and all in all, really good looking. I mean, that's kind of what I still kind of throw myself to, is basically silvers, whites. What I like about them is it's going to stay cooler. You know, that bunk over area, with the exception of the window, is going to stay relatively cool because you have a lot of whites. These coaches do have 2 air conditioners. I couldn't imagine building this coach in a really dark color with 2 air conditioners. I feel like 2 air conditioners is sufficient as long as this guy isn't dark brown, black, anything like that. So it just kind of makes sense to be able to do this. This paint scheme or some derivative of it, of course you can do solid white, you can do some lighter solid grays. So they are opening up a lot more options for the Verona LE. It's built in the same plant as your Explorer, your Classic, and your XL. So definitely they're getting a little more amenable to changing these units up. And so once we get inside, I'll kind of go over what we did on the inside. So we'll go down all the compartments. All the compartments are built in-house on the LE and up. So really nice baggage doors, dual latch. That's a combined compartment right there. One thing that I was a little apprehensive of whenever I picked it up early today was I've done a few of the LEs with the line baggage compartment, which is typically not an option, but something we've been able to get done in the past. So I was super scared whenever I picked it up and saw the carpeted liners. Everybody has their own preference. The nice thing about the carpet is if you have something, you don't have to worry about any kind of paint rubbing off. So if you had something small in there that was a little bit more valuable, the carpet probably would be more valuable to have versus the line baggage compartments. What I like about the line is just, I don't like carpet. I don't like things that get dirty, and so just my particular preference. But all in all, something that can be cleaned, not an issue to clean it after the fact. We do have some 110s within those. We can always add additional 110 outlets in there. It's nice to have this large combined compartment. We'll go through, line these up perfectly. Kind of my thing is I want to drop them right there and have them shut completely, perfectly, but that's something we'll get done after the fact. Of course, the LE comes standard with the Aquat 450. It is tied to the engine for your waste heat from your engine to be able to keep the system warm driving down the road. Conversely, you can use this to preheat your motor as well. 43-inch TV, outdoor TV is standard. It's locked. Forgot to unlock it. Single Gerard up top. So I noticed that they build one coach where they reverse this awning. So if somebody said, hey, you know, I want to do the awning further forward, really wouldn't cover up the entire slide, but there again, everybody kind of has their own preference. So that's basically a fake profile up forward of that, fake profile on the other side, you know, the roadside. So aesthetically, it just makes it look a little bit cleaner. You don't see the air conditioning, you don't see like your Starlink, you don't see any of that stuff up on top. I think all in all, it looks a little bit better. One thing we were able to get done, picture window, you really can't see. You can see 3 panes right here. Did a picture window there, just next to your dinette. So that's some of the things that they're kind of opening up to on changing. Like I said, you know, different awning layout, maybe different window. Doesn't really fit within the confines of what they designed the product, but these things are getting up there in price. I mean, all these LEs are going to retail for well over $400,000. At that price period, I think the customer should be able to make some minor changes as long as it's something they have in-house, as long as they don't have to go too far outside of the, you know, the normal scope of business, which they've got the windows there, so it's not a problem. So we did some additional security lights. The light there above the entry is just a standard porch light, so no option there. But the forward light, we have one in the rear and then one on the other side as well. So the nice 3/4 combined compartment here. Nice to be able to put, you know, ladder in, something like that. They are tiled floor. They only ship it with generally an additional tile box in case you break one. It might be some issue. All in all, we have really good luck with the tile floors, as long as you're not juggling hammers. So central vac is standard. We'll have a 110 inside that compartment as well. You'll see some of the central vac tools. 2-piece rear cap. Yeah, we definitely have to adjust that one. 2-piece rear cap. So the nice thing about the 2-piece rear cap, you back into something low, we can generally just take and UPS a small portion of this versus that's a mighty piece to have to take and change up after the fact. Good looking paint scheme, good looking rear cap as well. You'll have some additional lights. Kind of been pushing them into doing some additional lights. On our bigger coaches, we do you know, clearance lights, brake lights a little bit higher. Just, you know, if you ever lose your towed lights, if you're ever dragging a trailer that you have any kind of issues, at least you have some brake lights up there. Technically, that's something we could add if you said, hey, Darren, after the fact, I want to add these lights all the way up top. We have some opening within the back cap there. One thing we always like to do, some of these are not quite sealed very well, so we'll go through, be able to seal this all the way, basically from your floor down. So just, you know, you get some additional sounds. That's one thing that we like to do. But I said, if you had to have those lights up vertically, we can come up with something. So a 20,000-pound hitch is standard. Gen Y makes all kinds of different hitches. They make all kinds of different adapters. That's a 3-inch input right there. That hitch is a 2 5/16 and a 2-inch ball. We do keep the inserts to be able to adapt those down to either 2.5 or down to 2-inch. So if you're basically, you know, using a flat toe setup and need just a, you know, simple 2-inch receiver, not a problem for us to have those. Come around the side of this coach. It's a beautiful night out. I've kind of had it today. It's been a long day. Been working, but I appreciate you guys watching the video. But it's a beautiful night out here in Middlebury, Indiana. So the transfer switch on the left, a little 110 on the right, and the 36-foot short cord there. Do have the drop out there. Oddly enough, I have seen brand new coaches without any way to get the short cord out. Believe it or not, that is a thing. So something pretty simple. Sometimes manufacturers don't get it. 8K generator is standard. I think I might end up hurting myself going around the side here. I just wanted to get out here in the sun to be able to show this. They moved the Stinky Slinky out here, which kind of a no-brainer. A little bit different setup in the wet bay. The electronic valves, the dump valves are standard now. Getting the Stinky Slinky out of there again, it kind of makes sense. There is a hydronic register within that bay. We do have 12-volt heat pads on the bottom of the 75 gray, 75-gallon black. It has a nice little outdoor shower there as well. Have a whole house water filter. I'm going to send you all the way back around so you don't fall down here. So gray and black here. There again, there's small things that I hopeful to change. I want to come up with something a little bit better than this little carpet here. There's basically a small gap. Some coaches don't have anything here. Some of them do. Some will have some plastic right there, but I'd much rather see some plastic there than this guy right here. It's just a matter of aesthetics, but small things like that, we could manufacture something to be able to kind of cover that up if you didn't want the carpet. It does have the macerator pump on board. Not too much to see. Gray and black. So inverter, it started basically in 2025. Started putting their inverters on a rack, so if you have to do any kind of major service, they'd be able to take and pull that out. There are felt a fair amount of heat within this. Of course, we're inverting right now, running the front air conditioner. We'll take and monitor the temperatures on this. If we think we need an additional fan, always take a pop an additional hole, be able to wire up a fan there. They are thermostatically controlled, so in general they do a pretty good job, but if you're in really, really hot environments, you might need to add an additional fan if it does get hot. So 2 lithium batteries are standard, anything from the LE and up. And then of course with this floor plan right here and the way that all the compartments lay out, you can add 1 additional battery. There's really not enough room to be able to add 4. I say that, I don't know, it seems like a challenge. Seems like a challenge to be able to do 1 more. I think 1 more could be added, but the time you got to change those chassis batteries, you'll be cussing me if we try to squeeze 4 batteries in. So, decent amount of lithium on board, be able to run an air conditioner overnight, no issue there. Fuel tanks, we have 2 50-gallon fuel tanks on each side. They will basically gravity feed together. Takes a little bit longer than you would want if you're just trying to fill 1 tank and then have it, gravity flow over to the other. Just kind of the nature of the beast. We'll go through and fix minor little things. I'm a very picky guy. I think I've got a list of about 10 items. This is the number 1 thing. We'll go take and reposition this right here, this cutout for the heated. Just minor little things to clean things up, make it look nicer. Renegade does a great job from the factory, but they're human. They produce a fair amount of units. The small little things like that, that's the things that, in my opinion, your dealers should be addressing. And I mean, it's something minor. We can fix in just a few minutes. So we'll come around. Can you get through the? So the clear bra is standard, basically what they call a diamond shield. Help out for rocks, bugs, things like that. You do want to make sure you get any of those bugs off. If it does sit on there for basically more than a week or 2, it will kind of start to pit that diamond shield. The LE, you can tell the LE from the regular Veronas because the LE does have this. Of course, you'll have the, well, I take that back. They're doing Veronas with a 3-slide and a rooftop awning as well. So a little bit different setup, but in general, they've been doing this additional fender flare just to kind of cover that big gap on the LEs for several years. So we'll come inside. It's a little warm, but not bad. Be nice to have some air conditioning inside though. Solid surface entryway. I think it looks really nice. So I'm 225. I can get through here. Maybe not straight, but I can get through there sideways. There again, just kind of the nature of the layout of the floor plan. This is Wayfinder interiors, basically. So kind of a gray tone, coupled with the Rockport stain. So inside and outside kind of has that little bit. Trying to think of the term. I mean, I prefer this over tan. That's just kind of me. Still a good look. So whites, tans, grays. I like some. So there's a little bit of tan within the countertop here, but I predominantly like the grays. So the same type slide mechanism they used for years, Schwintek, they've gotten better and better throughout the years. So we'll have a modified lift cowl on the other side that's hydraulic. So notice earlier a little bit slower. It's actually going a little bit faster. I figured there's probably a little bit of air in the lines. That's something we'll do. We'll cycle the slides about 10 to 15 times, be able to pull out any air within the system. So the biggest thing, to me, it just kind of makes sense. So these ceiling trim pieces are normally reserved for the Explorer. So you got your air conditioner right here. You just have some aesthetics. Customer requested that. I just think it looks good. This is an expensive coach. I don't want it to look up and just see plastic. So there again, if somebody said, hey, Darren, we have a used Verona and we would be interested in getting something like this. Definitely not going to be inexpensive, but things like that, you could take an older coach and be able to kind of dress it up a little bit. But all in all, I just think it's such an expensive coach. It's a nice coach. We got heated tile floors. We have, upgraded Lambrite, furniture. It's a beautiful coach, and I think at this price point, it's kind of a good call to be able to do those ceiling treatments and the AC cover as well. So a little bit different tile selections. I don't recall the name of this tile, but I think it looks good. I think it looks great. I would love to have this in a lot of my classics. However, it's reserved for the Explorer and the Verona LE, but I think it's a really good looking tile. This countertop, basically, I think there's a Costa, and then I'm gonna have to kind of think about this for a minute. Basically, the Costa has a little bit just more gray vein. This does have a little bit of the tan veining to it. The idea back behind kind of changing this was to have a little more of a quartz look, but all in all, it's been very well received. Something just a little bit different. This is a man-made solid surface. You can chip it, you can scratch it. It's gonna take a little bit more. That's part about it being relatively light, is if you do scratch it, you generally don't see versus something that's dark. So back in the day, the Verona LE had crazy dark cabinets, had dark countertops, and they were just, as Ron Burgundy say, they would be the rich smell of mahogany. So always nice to see something much lighter, much nicer. There again, a little bit different backsplash. I think everything is on point color-wise. They started doing the fireplace on the hinge. We were doing so many of those things after the fact at the dealership. Basically, this was all wasted space. But right now, I can put the dog in there if I needed to. So a ton of room there. Nice to have that back. So that is a standard. That's not an option. But decent amount of storage here. That subwoofer will be relocated by the time it gets to the retail customer. And it should be. Nice cabinet. So small little Amish group makes all the cabinets. They do a phenomenal job. I do lots of little stuff with them, little side projects, and they do a great job. We were just at the Hershey RV show. I can promise you nobody has this level of cabinetry. I don't care what the price point is. So take that for what it's worth. Nice dovetail, soft close. And look here, kids. Standard for 2026, even in the Verona LE. Pretty fancy, pretty swanky. And you'll look back over here. Look at how big that window is. You see it over there, you see it over here. Gives you a nice vantage point. Nice to have that big window. It's a non-vented window, so keep that in mind. So you probably have to, basically all of the microwaves are vented out, so that would kind of turn over your air. Unfortunately, they do not have an option for an opening window, and they do not have an option for a max air. Maybe in time. The problem is trying to fit all this stuff on the ceiling. It's like, do we want to look good? Do we want to do functional? Our classics, we generally do a max air in the kitchen. The problem is, like, we couldn't, of course you'd have AC and AC. You kind of limit how much stuff you can put in the roof. And unfortunately, we just don't have enough room, basically, to be able to put, I think we could, maybe in time. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're a big cooker, just keep in mind that turning over the air might be somewhat difficult. You open a window over there, turns out it's going to help a little bit, but just not the same as a max air. This is another big improvement for 2026. Hominy. Hominy's not going to slide out and just fall on the floor. Got to give it a quick nudge, and then she comes out. That's the same for everything. We always take and put these little tables, so the tables go in the Lambrite furniture. So Lambrite LE, Explore, and Classic now. Those things don't fall on the floor. Samsung refrigerator standard. Samsung microwave is standard. Does this have an air fryer? Slim fry. So just learned it from using a coach last week. The air fryer function is pretty handy to be able to warm up some really nice homemade chicken pot pie made by your beautiful bride. So anyway, it was nice to be able to have that, even better the second time. Picture window there, as I indicated. I guess if this guy wanted a picture window there, I might have had to arm wrestle 4 people over there, but I think we probably could have gotten it done. I just like this, see out. I don't see any, there's no jazz in the way. There's nothing in the way, just makes it nicer, cleaner looking outside. It's not opening though, so keep that in mind. Convertible booth dinette, the 2 cushions are underneath there. So this opening is basically, they've had this opening, I guess it's 2023. This will slide back and forth. It'll have like a little lip. They used to have these pins. The pins were, it's like you'd have to hold your tongue just right to be able to put the pins in. Just something very, very simple. So they just basically put this over the edge. It will take and kind of, excuse me, kind of lock into place there. They got rid of the big giant wooden ladders that would clobber you over the head, and just went with the simple little lippert ladder. We stick those down below so it doesn't fall on our heads. The 9 times out of 10, especially that window right there, we really recommend doing some type of ceramic window tint on the inside. It does a great job to be able to block out that heat. I mean, it's not any different. So a lot of times we'll do the windshield, no tint whatsoever other than just ceramic, light little tint, and then maybe some tint up there, but it kind of blocks out that heat. Another thing they do on the LEs that makes sense, they don't do it on the other coach. Add 2 speakers right here. It sounds so much nicer because you just have the sound that's so down low in these coaches. It's nice to be able to, on the way over, just listen to a little bit of radio. I don't need to jam out. Just nice to be able to hear your radio coming from 2 different places. So enjoyed that. 110 with USB up in the bunk over, basically anywhere you sit, same type scenario, 110 with USBs. 2 plugs in the backsplash. There again, kind of no-brainer. I tell you, we did a 43 CMD for a relatively local customer the other day. Put a nice door right there, covered all that up. I'm certain he was probably going to put his board games in there. So get rid of all the HDMI because everyone's streaming nowadays. You put Sorry, you put Monopoly, you put all your board games right in there. Put that cover up, hide all your board games. So half bath here. So used to, this guy, you couldn't even open up this guy. So you'll see some of the plumbing back in there for your kitchen slide. But back in the day, she was real pretty, and you tug and tug and tug, and you couldn't even put anything in there. So now they changed this up. I think a little better setup, a little bit deeper as well. Electrical's in there. Do have some small storage up there. Have a hydronic register there. And some storage there. That max air will be standard. Now I did not open up that rear slide, and I'll do that right now and bore you guys to death. So, as great of a product as they have, there are going to be minor things, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news and bring negativity in it, but whoever inspected this door right here, so that's something we'll fix. Luckily, it doesn't hit. We can drop it down a little bit. You'll never know any difference, but come on, guys. I like, they use these really expensive hinges so that way they come out and about, so whenever you go to do this, you can open this up, be able to have more room here. It's a kind of a tighter spot in general, but it's a simple fix. It's a simple fix. It's just kind of the principle of the matter. Nice door, no more magnets on the back. They use this pin type system in here. Come back here. So this mattress right here should be a 66-inch wide bed. In fact, I'm going to lay down and I'll let you know. Is it 72 or 66? It is 66. So Now, one thing to keep in mind on the LE and the Explorer, they only put a 75-inch long mattress. I can sleep on them. I just have to have my head jammed all the way up there. The nice thing about this product right here, there's no window at the head of the bed, so I can put my head all the way against that soft touch panel there. Don't have a problem. But if you are a 6'8" guy, we will generally upgrade your mattress. You'll flip it over and it'll extend out a little bit. Might get a little tight there, but if you're a really tall person, kind of keep that in mind. But all in all, nice setup here. Ceiling fan there. A little treatment over your air conditioner. Those do open up so you can still get to your filters. It's not a big deal to be able to take and prop that down. Our fresh water is below the bed. I got some nice shocks there. First time it was the chopper. You couldn't lift it up because those shocks weren't quite stout enough. So 2 75-gallon water tanks below the bed. You'll see the 2 hydronic registers on each side of the bed as well. So we have some nice little nightstands on each side, a little bit of storage. Put your playing cards right here. Put your Uno, your regular playing cards, and then your tarot cards in there. 110 with USBs on each side of the bed as well. Opening windows up there. You have master control, and you have your window controls there, and then I guess window control there. So a lot of the other, if you do have a window over here, they have the switch over there. So that might be kind of if you forget this at night, you're gonna have to get out of bed and open this dude up. That's your egress window. You'll need egress basically either at the head of the bed or over here in almost any RV. Some will do the egress in the rear bathroom. Because we lose a little bit of overall length to the chassis itself, we generally we're not afforded those large baths you would have in the Class A's because we lose, 4, maybe 5 foot to the hood of the truck, so you generally don't have those big monster rear baths. But case in point here, this is basically a 40-foot coach right here with a bath and a half. There's a ton of storage beyond that, but just in comparison. So you know that. So they kind of class up the showers. I will be pushing and continue to push for a solid surface shower. Still not a bad shower. You had a fair amount of room in there. You drop the soap. If I drop the soap and John Lee was in bed, moon's arising. Full moon's arising. Click it. Convertible shelving here. Fair amount of room here. Put all your Bosch and Loam rinse right there. And look, kids, not only a window, but we have, I'm not even going to touch it because I don't want to. There we go. All your towels up there. But nice setup. A little bit smaller bath overall. Most of the larger coaches are like 41 to 42 inches in here. This, I believe, is 36. But with this large opening, it makes all the difference. If this slightly confined, if Shawn Lee was doing her hair, she want to make sure that thing is open. The hair would not fit in here, so keep that in mind. But all in all, like I said, the inside, the outside. I tell you what, the M2s. One thing that's impressive about the M2s is that the fact they turn on a dime. The wheel cut is crazy. It's 55 degrees. I mean, I can do U-turns where other coaches I'm doing, a 20-point turn. So this will get in and out. I got out on the interstate earlier to run from Bristol over, 75 mile an hour, boom, amazingly fast. This is a 350 horsepower, so they call it the L9. It's actually 8.9 liters, but it is a monster motor. Most of the coaches, the Super C are on the S2 at 6.7. You jump from the 6.2 to the 8.9, leaps and bounds. Huge difference as far as drivability. So, all in all, great horsepower for the size of the coach. To me, this coach isn't designed to pull 20, 30,000 pounds. Yeah, there's a 20,000 pound hitch on there, but it'll send this coach down the road, no problem, 75 miles an hour all day long. But all in all, pretty darn happy with it. I think we've got close twin to this coming as a stock coach. It won't have this and this. Something we can always change, or something we can add at the dealership, so kind of keep in mind. So if you have some interest in an LE, let us know. Appreciate this couple out of Minnesota buying their dream coach from us. I look forward to getting them their coach, taking good care of them. It's a big deal. I tell you what, I kind of, everybody asks me what I do. I'm busy, I don't know, but I can't really tell you. This morning, sold a coach to a guy in Pennsylvania. There are a few issues that were going to involve some paint. Got together with Renegade Service, scheduled with them, talked to our transporters, got a transporter today. He's picked up the unit today, and we'll deliver it here tomorrow. We'll get the guy back on the road. If he was in Texas, we'd do the same type of scenario. But that's, you know, I do everything. I'll wash them, I'll clean them, I'll take them here, I'll, you know, talk to, you know, I did a plant tour this morning we're a couple from Texas, so I never know what I'm going to do. Normally I dress a little bit nicer if I think I'm doing a video, but apologize for that. Always appreciate you guys watching these videos. Make sure you guys like, tag, and subscribe. Check out our new 2026 Verona LRB that will be at the dealership, I think within 30, 45 days. Check us out, pmcrv.com.